Hello, welcome to day number 1 of weeks 3 and 4. We're going to do a lower body routine today. The exercises are the same as last week's. However, we are throwing in a little bit more of a challenge because we're adding some static holds to a couple of them, and we're adding an abduction to the bridge. So if you would like to do this with your own body weight again, that's fine. Adding those static holds will add a little bit more of a challenge. If you would like to do this with weight, go ahead and do so as well. You can stay with the weights that you used last week, or you can increase it a little bit. It's up to you, but we are still doing the static holds even with the weight option. And then I'm going to use a resistance band that I'll loop just over my knees to do the abduction on the bridge. If you have one that is light, go ahead, take it out and use it. Otherwise, you can still do the abduction with a resistance band, but it'll definitely add more of a challenge with it. So get your equipment. Oh, and you'll need your step because we're still doing step ups as well. So get your equipment and I'll meet you right back for a quick warm up. Okay, let's start with the warm-up. We're just going to start by marching in place and start lubricating those joints. Work on elevating your heart rate a little bit. Move your arms. All right, and we'll step out. Warm up that thoracic spine, those shoulders, those hips. We're all connected, so even though it's the legs or the lower body that will be more actively working, the upper body will be there as support. So, just as important to warm it up. Step forward, send your arms back. Cross your midline. Crossing the midline is a good exercise for the brain. Cross from right to left and left to right. Good. All right, now we're going to do some butt kicks, or really just bring your knee up as far as you can. Kind of counterbalance with your arms, swinging back and forth. Right. And knees up, arms meet the knees. So, adding the static holds, that isometric hold in the deadlift and the squat, allows your muscles and your fascia to kick in, right? Now they have to hold you temporarily in that place. So doing static holds is a great way to increase the intensity or the resistance of an exercise without having to add equipment or more repetitions. Let's do the read. So inhale and arms up. Exhale, round your back. Inhale, open up. Exhale, down. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, down. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale. Very good. All right, so very quick warm up. If you need a little bit more, go through this again or do the moves that you know. Otherwise, we'll start with the squat. Again, you can do this with body weight. You can do this with a weight. We are going to add the static hold nonetheless, so it doesn't matter which version you do. We're going to set up as we usually do. Find your proper stance for the squat. If you need a refresher, go back to that video on YouTube or the explanation for week 1. So align yourself in a way that your knees won't collapse when you squat, and make sure that you sit back so that your knees don't come forward off your toes. All right, we're still working up to 10 repetitions, but again, form is more important than anything. So if you only do 3, fine. If you do 5, that's great. If you can only do 1, it's much better than running through this with improper form. So we sit back, hold, and then push through your heels. Engage the glutes and sit up. That's 1. 2. Hold. Engage the glutes, come up. That's 3. 4. Really use the strength of those glutes to come up. Don't bounce to get up. 5. It's just a micro hold, but it makes your glutes, your hamstrings, your quads kick in that extra bit. 9 and 10. Very good. All right, tap it out for a second. Drink some water. If you need a longer break, take one. Otherwise, we're going straight into the deadlift. Same thing as last week. Find your stance. Soften your knees, keep your shoulders back and your sternum up. No rounding. Doesn't matter if you're doing this with or without weight, but very important that if you are holding a weight, You really work at keeping those shoulders back. Soften the knees. We flex at the hips to send the butt towards the back. When we lower, we're going to hold just for a second in the down position, and then we're really going to engage the posterior chain to help us come up again. So, because we're holding, if you only want to lower to here so that you can comfortably hold, that's okay. If you can go further down and hold there, that's okay too, as long as your pelvis is protected by engaging your pelvic floor and you're really using your glutes and that posterior chain to bring you back up. Keep your knees soft, don't lock them. Here we go. Down. Remember, we inhale on the way down, and then we exhale on the way up. That's 1. Hold. And 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. And 10. Good job. Yeah. You feeling that extra challenge? Hopefully you are. All right, take a little break if you need to. Have some water around. Get your steps ready to go. Let's get started with the step-ups. So these ones won't change. These ones were a bit of a challenge for some of you, so we'll keep them the same. Be near a wall or have a chair for support. You can do this with your own body weight again. You can do it with a weight, which you can hold on the opposite side for some counterbalance, or on the same side. Your foot comes to the middle of the step. Give your foot as much surface area to work with. We work with this leg. We push through this glute. Transfer the force between heel and glute and heel. The back leg doesn't push. It's all on this leg. All right, sternum up. Proper posture. Here we go. Up. And slowly down. That foot only taps when we get up there. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Okay, I felt that one. In a good way. Yeah, it's a good burn. Make sure that the sensations you feel are on the good end, right? You know those good burns? That's okay. If it's a bad burn, or if you're in pain, just stop. Do not work through this. Not worth risking the injury. All right. Other side. You remember all your alignment cues. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, slowly down. 4, 5, 6, 7, almost there. 8, 9, and 10. Whew. Yes. Put your weight down very carefully if you're using one. Tap it out for a second. Drink your water. We're going to go down on the floor for the bridge. So get your yoga mat out or your carpet or your rugs. Just make sure that you're comfortable down there. I'll meet you in a bit. All right, here we are down on the floor. This is where, if you want, you can use a resistance band. Choose something that is light. And next week, if you want, for week 4, you can increase the resistance of the band if you want. Or you can stay the same, but for week 3, stay here. So, we're going to do a bridge. So, just like last week, your knees or your legs are parallel to each other. Have about your hand and a little bit more distance between your glutes and your heels. You can be a little bit further out if you want to, or a little bit closer. But find what works for you. Your arms are only there for support. Remember, they don't push you up. We engage the glutes, push through the heels. We're going to come up to the bridge. When we're here, hold. So again, a bit of a static hold. And then we're going to open our legs against that resistance. You can do this without the band as well. Control the way back so your legs come back to parallel. And then you come back down. Okay, here we go. Engage those glutes. Come up, abduct, adduct, so come back to center, and slowly down. That's one. That's two. Oh yeah, you will feel the burn. That's three. Very good. If you're only lifting to here, that's okay. What matters is that those glutes are engaged the entire time. That's four. 5. 6. 7. 8. Two more. 9. Come on. 10. Oh yeah. That's a little challenging, but that's what this is, right? A movement challenge. So, just hug your knees in for a little bit. We are going to go on to round number 2. If you would like to join, feel free. Just take a break, walk around for a minute, drink some water, and then we'll start again with the squats. Welcome back. Let's get started with round number 2. We're almost there. We're going to start with the squat. I'll show you from the side again. Get your equipment ready if you're using any. Get your stance, spine and neck nice and tall. Here we go. Squat, hold, push, and up. Down, hold, push to the heels, engage the glutes. Come up. 3, 4, 5, very good. You're staying here, that's okay. 6, 7, 8, 9, one more, and 10. Good. So, not only are you working your glutes, hopefully you're also feeling your quads kicking in, right? That static hold. You have to hold your knees in that bent position. So hamstring, glutes, and quads have to activate. They're kind of acting as the brakes, right? Like, oh, we're not moving, we're staying still. Yeah. So again, if you're wondering for ways to increase the intensity of your squats or any exercise, but without using extra equipment or any equipment at all, and without having to do 50 repetitions of each, just throw in a static hold. It'll do the trick. Okay, let's do the deadlift. Find your stance again. Elongate your back and neck. Soften your knees. Flex at the hips. Glutes go back. Hold. Engage that posterior chain. And come up. Inhale on the way down. Exhale on the way up. If you're only lowering to there, that's fine. Rather you do that than lose your form and round when you're in the down position. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good job. Yes. Hopefully by now the deadlift got a little bit easier. Let me know what you think. It's one of those exercises we don't actually give to many of you here in the clinic, but it's a wonderful exercise for the entire posterior chain. All right, if you need a longer break, take it. Drink some water. Have your step ready because we're doing step ups again. All right. Make that glute work. Here we go. Step up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, slowly down. 7, 8, 9. Woo! And 10. Lost my balance a little bit there for a second. But step ups, very good to challenge your balance, right? You're in that split stance position, so your core has to kick in a little bit more than if you were in a bilateral stance. Okay, recover, drink some water. We'll do the other side. Here we go. So, if you're wondering why we always recommend step-ups, why we're so adamant that you do them and you practice them with proper form, here we go, up, it's because step-ups or stepping up is a motion that you do very often. Maybe you realize it, maybe you don't. If you have stairs, you have to step up. This is 6. If you're coming down from the floor, you do a version of a step up. More. Good job. Okay. So, very important. Because again, step ups is one of those functional exercises, right? It actually translates into something that you do every day, like going up the stairs, like coming back from being on the floor. So you need to strengthen those muscles and that fascia. You need to keep those joints lubricated, hydrated, in order to get up from that position. So even though this is a wonderful little routine to get you moving and to strengthen your muscles, you're also getting that additional benefit of mimicking things that you do in everyday life, especially with the squat and the step up. So you're kind of artificially training your body to help you do those things in your everyday life. So good. All right, let's go down for the last round of bridges. Okay, here we are down on the mat. Let's do bridges. Have your resistance band around if you're using it. Okay. Slowly down. See, even that, every little movement that we do here has a purpose, right? I didn't just plop down on the floor. I controlled the way down. So used my abs and my core to help me lower. All right. Position yourself. One thing that I have forgotten to mention is if you're feeling your hamstrings kick in a little bit more than your glutes, maybe your legs are a little too far away. So if you do that, you will be lifting, well, you'll be kicking in your hamstrings a little bit more. And if they're a little too close, you'll be engaging your quads a little more. So find that in-between place so that you give your glutes the chance to activate as much as they can. The hamstrings and the quadriceps will still kick in, but you have a better chance of activating the glutes a little more if you're somewhere in between. Okay, here we go. Engage those glutes. Come up to your bridge. Open just slightly. Slowly back to parallel. And lower. Up. When you open, you don't drop. You stay up. So again, a bit of a static hold from your glutes there. 2. This is 3. Slow down the movement. Don't fly through it. And if it burns, well, then you're probably doing it right. You feel those muscles really activating. Right, halfway. So what does the abduction do? Well, it activates your glute medius and minimus. So those abductors of the hip that are very important in balance work. 8. One more. Oh, yes. Good job. Very good. Hug your legs in. Breathe. So, as I was saying, those glute medius and minimus, those abductors of the hip, also help in stabilizing of the hip. So, if you have trouble with single leg stance movements, whether it's in yoga or simply standing on one leg or doing some of the step-ups, then you probably need to focus on strengthening those lateral glutes to help you with that balance work. Do a figure 4 stretch. So those glutes stabilize your pelvis. They're extremely important. So we strengthen them with abductions. We strengthen them with single leg stands, or those exercises that make you stand on your leg for a moment, like the step ups, or like the knees to chest that we did in the warm up and that we've done in Tabata before. Switch sides. All right. So please give me feedback. Tell me what you think of these sessions. I've gotten some very good comments, very good feedback from a lot of you, so thank you for that. These, very good. Roll, and then push your way up. Let's do a half butterfly stretch. So for this one, like we've done for yin yoga, if it helps you to sit on a folded blanket just at the edge to help tilt your pelvis forward so that you can more comfortably flex from the hips and not the back, have that. Otherwise, stay here with me, bend one leg, keep the other one straight in front of you, and if this is enough sensation, you stay there. Otherwise, you flex at the hips and you bring your torso forward. The arms are there for support, but they're not pushing you up, they're not pulling you down. Just hold and breathe. Good. Slowly come up and switch sides. If you're doing this in the morning, it's a great way to get your day started. You got your heart rate up a little bit. You've got your blood flowing and your muscles worked and they pumped. If you're doing this later in the evening or in the day, I hope you can see that even if you don't feel like exercising because you're tired, that some of that fatigue that you were feeling was more mental than it was physical, right? Sometimes we don't feel like going for a walk. Let's do a full butterfly now. So the feet together. And same thing, stay up like this or flex. Try not to put your feet, just hold. Yeah, sometimes we don't feel like going for a walk or like doing our yoga or our exercise for the day because we're tired. But sometimes, if not most times, that fatigue is more mental, right? It's the mental stress. If you're in the workforce, maybe you have a difficult boss or difficult coworkers, or you just had a lot on your plate. If you're a parent, maybe you had to rush your kids from place to place. By the end, you're feeling, ugh. But if you just get yourself to do even the minimal amount of repetitions, or even a 5-minute walk or a 5-minute stretch, you'll feel how lightened you can be afterwards, and how your body wasn't really actually tired, right? Okay, we're going back up to stretch into the quads because they worked a lot today. So I'll meet you there. Right, let's stretch into the quads and the hip flexors. They worked a lot today, especially with those holds in the squat. So I'll give you some options. You can hang on to something if you need to. Hang on to the chair for now, because sometimes I lose my balance. So you can bring one leg up, so knee to chest, grab your ankle, and then from there, bring your foot to the back. Right? Hold there, hold on to something so that you don't collapse into that hip, or slowly down if you're doing that variation. You can use a chair or your couch, have something in front of you for support if you need. You can put one foot on the seat of the couch, and with that little bit of extension of the hip, feel a stretch into the hip flexors and the quads. If that's enough, you stay there. If you feel like you need a little more, bend into the opposite leg, and then you'll feel a bigger stretch in there. So find the variation that works for you. Hold for a little bit, breathe. And then very slowly, come out. Don't rush, take your time. And then of course we do the other leg with whatever variation you chose to do. So this is the end of day 1 of weeks 3 and 4. Exercises were the same. We just added a little bit of a challenge with the static holds and with the resisted abduction in the bridge. So thank you for joining. I hope I've given you a little bit of enlightenment and ideas on how to progress your workouts without having to change your routine completely and without having to add so many repetitions. So throw in some holds, throw in a little bit of weight, a resistance band, vary your movements just a little bit, and you'll see that the exercise becomes completely new and your muscles have to work to adapt to that new challenge. So thank you so much for joining. I'll see you tomorrow for upper body strength.